people versus bending your knees on the serve and pushing up into the serve. What do you think of that one
Yeah.
as a tip?
Well, you know, I would say that I believe that there's legs in the serve,
Okay, I'll
but
buy that.
yeah, I would say there's legs in the serve. That's what I'm gonna say. But gosh, I've seen a lot of knee bend set people back on their serves for years. I see people bending their knees when they're tossing, and they're flinging their legs up and they can't control a toss because they've got their ground up, they've got their leg drive and their knees flinging their toss in the air. So that again, if I'm working with a beginner or to go intermediate, if I'm working an intermediate to go advanced, if I'm working even advanced to go elite, there's usually a lot of other conversation about where we're improving the serve that has nothing to do, with the legs. So I'm not going to say if you know how to coach the knee bend and leg in the serve that it's wrong, but I think a lot of coaches put way too much emphasis, and they might be missing the boat on and maybe even setting back their student serve as a result of too much discussion about the leg drive.
I think the whole idea of bending your knees and pushing up into the serve has destroyed the women's serve game for decades.
You think so? How so?
Well, I mean, you still get Sharapova, Sabalenka, you still get them in the 20s on double faults. 20s. What's her name? Coco Gauff recently tanked a few matches with her serve. The double fault always comes when she doesn't need it. When she really
Yeah.
needs a big first serve, that's when the doubles come. And I think it's because of this idea of teaching the knee bend. I mean, there's a million ways to bend your knees. A million, right? They can bend
Yeah.
evenly. That one can bend more than the other.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's a million ways. And once again, this idea of a double conic. Sure, I can toss, and my coach says, "Oh, see the players on TV, they bend their knee." But it's a misunderstanding because look, I can also just twist my hips. See, it's like twisting vines. Doesn't the vine get shorter when you twist it? Right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I
It
mean,
does.
and that's really what's happening. That's why a baseball player throws, right? He turns his hips, keeps his arm forward, his legs get tension, and then it goes the other way. There's a knee bend there. In fact, if he wants to throw it really far, he can really turn his hips and he keeps getting shorter. And then they come up off the ground. So I don't believe the knee bend is a correct way to state it. I think
Yeah.
it's more of a twisting or a screwing down. See that?
Yeah.
You screw down into the court and you screw up out of it. So one leg, the front leg, is going to be lower to the ground than the back leg. So telling
Okay.
someone like Coco Gauff, bend your knees, now when it's time to hit, she's not naturally going to go into the 45, so she over rotates and faces the net.
Right.
That's when she gets wild serves. She has a
Gotcha.
wild serve sometimes because she's facing the net. Same with more than half the women on the tour. They're facing the net, a contact, because they bend their knees straight instead of twisting the
Gotcha.
vines. They bend them straight. So the only way up is up and out, right? Because they
Yeah.
can't go straight up because they'll face the side fence. So they go up and then they face the net.
Gotcha.
And I think it's destroyed the women's service game. I think a lot of people would agree with me. Martina Navratilova certainly does. She always says, "Oh, women struggle so much
Yeah.
with their serves." That's because the coaches tell them, "Bend your knees and push up," which once
Right.
again sounds
So
terrific,
I've
but
I've heard
it's not what's happening.
I've kind of heard the analogy like it's a spring pushing down and then springing up, pushing down. And so what you're saying is what I was saying earlier. The with the lag, it seems like if you're doing it right, the proper knee bend or knee work is a byproduct of having the nice rotation before you go into your swing that kind of, like you said, screws into the ground. So we have to be very careful
Yeah,
that if we're
it's
gonna
not
be
a
talking
bend.
about
It's
the
not
knee
a knee
bends
bend.
and the leg,
Right.
that they could be doing it all wrong, and like you said, setting them back rather than helping them.
Right.
and you have good intentions, but if you don't fully understand what's going on, there's other things to be teaching them that will create the right type of leg usage into the serve. It's a
Right. Right.
byproduct.
Right. It's a twisting of these vines. It's natural. Once again, it's very natural.
Right.
And that's why things get shorter. You don't tell someone, bend your knees, because that's not really what's happening. The twisting from the middle, right? Doing their
Yeah.
figure eight in the middle and
Yeah.
turning, and that makes their legs go lower, right?
Yeah.
And it makes their
Yeah.
legs rise when they untwist or come out of their figure eight, and everything is natural. But just bending your knees and pushing up, it's just I think it's a remedy for disaster, and it's
Yeah.
been shown in the women's game for years. They've all had the number one in the world was Sharapova for a while. I remember
Yeah.
she double faulted
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
27 times in
That
two
was rough.
sets.
That was rough.
Sabalenka looked horrible yesterday in the French. Her serve started to fail her as well. Big double faults at the wrong times.
Yeah.
And it's because if you don't really have a North Star, like the 45 is your North Star, then you're out there just trying to take these tips and piece them together.
Yeah.
And under pressure, they just don't work, you know.
So pitching and throwing, you don't see somebody, feel the ball and then squat down. You don't see the
No.
pitcher squatting down on the mound before they
Well,
throw
I'm
it.
glad you mentioned baseball, because you're right. I mean, you watch a pitcher, he picks, not only does he turn his hip, he picks his foot up and turns it even more. So it's basically the same thing as a serve.
I would say if you're watching a free throw in basketball, there's some dipping because they're straight on. And so they
They're
get
not straight on though. They're at the 40. You watch a good basketball player like a Kobe, my favorite. Shaq used to shoot straight on.
okay
He'd always
a
juxtapose
little
it
bit.
and shoot off.
There's
Shoot off
45.
his Yeah,
There's
you look.
45.
I could show you pictures of Kobe with his feet at the 45 every time.
Okay.
Magic
Gotcha.
Johnson, feet at the 45 every
Okay.
time.
But my point there though is there's not a lot of rotation when you're shooting. So I could see the legs maybe being in this more vertical, way more. That's not how the serves hit. The serve's not hit up and down like this.
What I'll do is I'll put some basketball pictures up so people can see it for this tip here.
Mhm.
And you'll see all the great free throwers have their feet not on the line, but skewed off center to the 45. And that's where they get their little tiny bit of hit. Not enough to have a big knee bend, but just enough to drop a little, maybe an inch or two, and then rise an inch or two. So it's even in basketball. You see it in the best athletes.
How about the underhand free throw guy?
Yeah, the Kyrgios serve.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's it for knee bend on the serve. I personally think it's a terrible, terrible tip. I always have thought it was guilty of being just, oh, this is what I see. Oh, they're bending their knees. So you bend your knees and it'll be just the same as so-and-so.
Yeah.
Where it's not the same. Even the pinpoint serve is misunderstood, right? You've got some people bringing their feet together and bending straight down, Coco Gauff.
Yeah.
Then you've got Guga Kirtan, who, as he goes into the toss, he turns his hips and then finally brings his feet together after he's got a full rotation of the hips. Then he goes into the pinpoint stance, and then he makes a beautiful serve. She just comes straight here, bends, so her knees are equal, and then over rotates and faces the net. So it's a hit and miss. So, one of the reasons these people, they get a lot of serves in. Like, I love Coco's game, don't get me wrong. It's just her serve is just plaguing her. They practice so much that, plenty will go in. But under pressure is when you see what they're really made of, and if they know intuitively what they're doing. Under pressure, Federer knew what he was doing. Djokovic knows what he's doing. But you saw yesterday with Sabalenka,
you're gonna have more longevity.
He got bageled in the third.
Yeah,
she didn't know what she was clueless. She had no idea what she was doing, and trying to go, oh, I'm going to bend my knees, trying all these tips. None of them were there to save her because she had no philosophy. Philosophy. She couldn't be saved. So
Yeah.
I'm going to say, I'll say guilty. Bending your knees on the serve, that's a really bad tip.
I think the use of legs in the serve in coaching is overrated. So many people, too many people are using that, and they're overemphasizing it. And yes, there's a time and a place, but I think a whole lot less than people think. I think it's overused.
Yeah, certainly more rotation than bending. Because, like I said, rotation it creates a bend. If you don't bend on purpose, it creates a bend, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
it does. It does. Yeah.
all right.